What's up, guys? Happy Monday. National championships tonight. You know what? This tournament's kicked my ass. I can't really sugarcoat it. Man, and especially on Saturday, feeling like you're on the right side of the game and then getting it wrong is 100 times worse than just being like, all right, I'm wrong about that game. I hate myself. I hate sports betting. I'm done with it. Like when you're wrong about a game from the beginning to the end, there's at least some sort of peace in that. But man, when you feel like you are dead right about a game and you're just like, what am I doing here? What am I supposed to do differently? That's how I felt during the Auburn game to start off because they scored 46 points in the first half. But of course, I got the over for the second half. So not only do they blow the game, as you guys obviously know, but they can't score. They scored what 22 points in the second half. They that was more of a choke job than I think what happened to Duke. Duke, I think, got shell shocked, and Houston like ripped it from them. Auburn starts turning the ball over. They allowed Florida to come out of that second half. You thought the way the second half started, Auburn had basically already won the game. Took their foot off the neck, and then they just couldn't get it back. Ran out of gas. And of course, Florida's making big shot after big shot. That kid Clayton's ridiculous. So that's the first loss. And then the Duke game, I still don't know what happened. I've rewatched that like a half a dozen times now because I'm just fascinated about how hard Houston was playing. They just would not let that game go. I rewatched it when it was it 59-45. There's no way you could have told me that Houston would cover, let alone win the game, and that Duke's points wouldn't go over. Because it's like the only way that Houston's end up covering is they just extend this game. Duke's a great foul shooting team, and that's just not what happened. Duke just got stifled, turns the ball over. They can't make free throws, can't get the ball in bounds. Just everything that could go wrong for Duke went wrong, and there goes the bets again. So it's just been a tournament from hell. Um, really, no other way to put it. And here we go. So, with all that being said, my analysis of the game tonight is I don't know how Houston loses this game because they just feel like they are willing themselves to the national championship. Florida, great run. Uh, give them a ton of credit coming back and beating Auburn. They're clearly the SEC champions this year. I don't know if they have more skill than Houston, but they're right there with them. But when I break down the matchup, I'm like, Houston is going to will their way to win this game. And Florida's two big guys, Condon and Chengwa, I think is how you pronounce his name. I I don't think they're going to be able to keep up. I just don't think they'll be able to keep up with the two big guys with Houston, with Roberts and Tuglor. I forget how to pronounce his name. And then when Florida goes to the bench, they were skeptical about going to the bench in that UConn game when it was really tight and physical. And I don't know. If I'm them, I feel like their only pathway to winning tonight is being super hot from 3 point range. Between Hall, Richard, and obviously Clayton Jr., they got Martin, they got the Aberdeen kid. They can get hot, but Houston just doesn't give up anything on the perimeter. And if this was a 7 game series, maybe Florida eventually wears them down and their offensive execution just gets them. But in a 1 game do or die, I think Houston, I'm just so impressed with how they pulled off that game against Duke. And they're going to be really physical on the outside. It's a national championship. I doubt the referees want to blow the whistle on every little hand check. And that's the only way you can really beat Florida is you have to beat them up. Houston has the team to do it. And that's how I see this game playing out. And I just look at, maybe I'm getting more on the sentimental stuff than the X's and O's, but I just look at Houston's team and it feels like this is their window. Sampson's built this team for a minute now. They got blown out by Baylor a few years ago when they got to the Final Four, just absolutely steamrolled. And it's been a battle to get back here. They thought they were going to get there last year and then lost to Duke after Sheed got hurt, their best player. And this is their window with Cryer and Sharp. And Sharp makes big shots. Man, he fucking takes big shots, that kid. Cryer's the best player. Sharp is the vet's been there forever. But then the freshman, Uzan, might be the best NBA prospect, and I think he's going to shine tonight. I don't think Florida has enough guys on the perimeter to stop Houston's dribble penetration, and Auburn was not as good off the dribble as Houston is. I guess I've underestimated the Houston team. I don't think I underestimated Florida. I had UConn there. I didn't pull the trigger on Maryland. I just thought Auburn would get the best of them. It was the definition of a 50-50 game. Houston's the team I got wrong. Houston, I've been wrong about for months now. I just didn't think they were going to be able to score enough points, and I finally was on the verge of being proven right as Duke just stifled them. And they're launching long threes, and then they just got hot at the end. So I think the lesson for me when I'm analyzing Houston here is that those three guards it's enough firepower that if one of them doesn't have it, the other one can pick up for it. And they're just too tough, too physical inside. Roberts is 23 years old, the big guy for Houston who I don't say single-handedly lifted them over flag there, but it was all him down the stretch, getting the rebound, making the free throws, and then getting the stop. I just think he's going to be able to control the glass. And Walter Clayton Jr. has had his moment. Florida's had their moments. They'll be good for a long time. Golden's going to be around for a while. It's a great program. They got a lot of, you know, he rebuilt the program over there. Like it's a really good program. I could tell that last year when they lost in the first round. They scored like 100 and some points. I think it was Colorado State they were playing, or Colorado it was. But their offense was just super efficient. And I don't doubt that he'll try to have a couple tricks up his sleeve tonight. But like I said, if it was a 5-game series or a 7-game series, I think Florida wins because enough film, they'll figure out some different things to do. But tonight, Houston's physicality, I think, overmatches them. And then the guards for Houston come through. So I will roll with Houston, put out the bets here in a few minutes. My favorite bet out of all of them, if you're going to take Houston, would be Sharp. I got him at 8-1 to win the most valuable player of the Final Four. Cryer's got the best odds at plus 140 for Houston. Sharp has a good game tonight, and he's going to win it because he was great down the stretch. So I think that's a live bet. But yeah, I'll roll with Houston. The total's 140. I stay away from the over-unders because there'll be a bunch of fouls in the second half. I'll think about it for the first half, but I'll roll with Houston. Good luck to you guys. I hate saying sorry when you get games wrong with sports betting because that's, first of all, what does that even really mean? Like, doesn't make anybody feel better. But yeah, I have not had a great tournament, to say the least. So it just is what it is. I hope I can end it on a high note tonight. Hope if you have a chance to win your bracket, you end up pulling it off. And then, yeah, before I go, want to do a little Oriole stuff. Visiting my grandma here for a few days, so won't have another pod until Thursday or Friday. But I don't want to pile on, but it's like hard not to with the way the Orioles played defense this weekend, and frankly, the way they've played the first 10 games of the season. It's been a lot to leave, a lot to be desired. So Mateo gets the start in center field yesterday, which I mentioned a couple weeks ago when I was doing my whole breakdown before the season. I was like, that's his only role on the team. Like if he's gonna play, he's gonna have to be the utility outfielder, or there's just not a lot of at bats for him. So I don't. Yeah, I wish he would have made the play and caught the ball yesterday too. But I don't know if that means he never gets to have a start out there again. I think it was an odd. The thing about yesterday that didn't make any sense is if Hyde wants to put the righties in against the lefties, it's fine. But can you make sure that the starter doesn't have reverse splits? Like the numbers, this is what drives me crazy. Not every left-handed pitcher does great against left-handed hitting. Theoretically, yes, most of them do. But like that's why there's statistics. Like that's why there's numbers. So it's just an odd time to pull Mullins out of the outfield to give him a rest day. It's a big ballpark in Kansas City. It's the last day of it's the last day of the series, and it just didn't feel right. It just didn't. So there you go. The second at bat for the Royals, it comes back to bite you in the ass. And then they just couldn't recover. That's probably more of a reflection on, I said it last year about Hyde. I wasn't his biggest fan in the locker room and the energy. But man, when you just feel like you're dead after the first inning like that's really a bad sign, and you can just feel it. You're watching on TV, but you can still just feel it. So, I mean, we got to give Mateo more opportunities out there before you say he can never play center field again. It's just Mullins is on fire. I didn't know if yesterday was the right time to do it. And it's the same thing with Kjerstad and Holiday. Like, Hyde just can't read the room. He did this last year all the time. Like this is not a video game. Like Holiday and Kerstead are hitting the ball well, especially Holiday. Just smash like, and the guys got the reverse splits. Now's not the day to give Holiday and Kerstead the off day. When you bench your best players or guys that aren't necessarily expecting to be benched for that day, you can either do it from a top down approach and be like, I don't care how they feel. It's a long season. I'm the manager. I'm the boss. But that doesn't work. That might have worked a long time ago, but it doesn't work now. And it especially doesn't work when the players get paid as much money as they do. And it's, I guarantee a Holiday and Curse, they were both like, really? But we really, like, why? We were hitting the ball well, and the lefties got the reverse split. So whatever. Not great. Not great. Not a great weekend. Yesterday or Saturday was nice. Sagano pitched well, and that was a good sign. But yeah, the rest of the weekend just not a lot of fun to go around. So we avoid Corbin Burns, which is that's another buzzkill. We head to Arizona tonight for a 3-game series, and we don't face Corbin Burns, which of course you want to face Corbin Burns. So I don't know, just not been a tremendous amount of fun since I guess a week ago when they stomped the Red Sox on opening day, the home opener, and then Batista got to come out there. It has been a long 7 days. So hopefully they get on track tonight. They'll play 2 night games and then an afternoon game on Wednesday. Yeah, they have to go to Arizona. It's a time difference and the whole nine, part of a road trip, but it's not as significant of a disadvantage because Arizona just finished playing Washington yesterday in Washington, so they're on the same travel plan as we are. Actually, more traveling than we had to do. So hopefully we get them tonight. Arizona could be a little flat. Galen versus Eflin tonight. Maybe they're a little flat coming home, and the Orioles can get rolling. So yeah, that's my that's I don't want to beat them up too much. It's a long season, blah blah blah. But the lineup yesterday was I didn't think it was the right time for it, and I wasn't thrilled about Sanchez before we signed him, and he hasn't done anything in the first 10 games and changed my mind. But that's it is what it is. Gunner will get rolling here, and hopefully going out to Arizona, much better weather outside of the stadium, and then a controlled environment in the stadium, maybe better vibes. So have a good day, guys. Have a good night. Enjoy the game. If you're betting on it, should have just taken UConn women this for the past 2 weeks. That would have made this March Madness a lot more fun. They absolutely rolled yesterday. If you saw any of that, and yeah, last week for the NBA. So a ton going on. Excited to see you guys either Thursday or Friday. I'll put my bets out here shortly. And have a good day, guys. Good luck.